This is probably roughly the same routine that most of you have before a tournament, and it's a problem. You wake up like kinda tired after a really late night last night of grinding Fortnite and practicing for the tournament the next day, and then lying on your bed on your phone. And then you go eat some trash food for breakfast, like some sugary cereal or something, and then go to school, your job, or whatever it is you do, spending the whole day like using your brain heaps until the point where you get home. Then you just get a snack and just go on YouTube or TikTok and just scroll endlessly, using a bunch more of your brain energy. Now it's like kind of late, so it's dinner time. You're gonna have a massive dinner with heaps of carbs. Now you're pretty tired because you had a massive meal, you had a long day, you didn't get that good sleep. But I should probably get on a warm up for the tournament because it's like 2 to 3 hours before the tournament. So you get on and you warm up for all that time, like 2 to 3 hours, because that's good, right? Okay, now it's time for that important tournament finally. But wow, your brain is just so fogged and tired, and you just know you aren't playing as good as you could be. But I know exactly where you went wrong. Here is 4 reasons why. Number 1. Obviously, the night before an important tournament, you want to be getting the best possible sleep. This is probably the most important thing out of the entire video, and if you only take away one thing from this video, just remember that sleep can make or break your tournament. Now just a few tips for getting better sleep if you want to sleep earlier and better than usual the night before a tournament. Eat like your last meal, like usually dinner, as early as you possibly can with whatever like family restrictions you have, etc. I know some of you can't do it because your family eats later, but just try eat as early as possible, and also try eat something kind of light that doesn't have many carbs. This is not me trying to say I'm a doctor and I know everything, I'm saying carbs are bad or something. This is just a fact that if you have a massive meal with heaps of carbs in it, your body just takes a long time to digest it. And when you're digesting a massive meal that takes so long to digest and it goes into the time where you're trying to sleep, it disrupts your sleep and makes it hard to fall asleep. Number 2. You are overworking your brain and fatiguing it throughout the whole day. And yes, I know most of you will have school or work in the middle of the day where you need to think, and yes, you should do that and do your best work possible. But outside of that, you should be trying to make as little decisions as possible. This is because once you make so many decisions over a day, it like slowly adds up because it takes energy to make a decision every time you do it. And all that energy taking away all adds up to the point in the end of the day where you just don't feel like the best about making decisions because you just don't have the energy to do so. And that is terrible for Fortnite because you're making a million decisions that are super important. But luckily, a lot of important tournaments are on the weekend when you don't have school or work. So on a weekend day we have an important tournament, I recommend something roughly along the lines of this. You just sleep without an alarm clock just until you wake up and feel like getting up. And then you just want to make sure in that day you're doing as little things possible that are actually engaging your brain and making you make decisions. Like just do simple things like go for a run, do a workout, go hang out with a friend or something like that. And I recommend like you don't even really want to prepare much on the day of the tournament. Like you don't want to just be in VODs for like 5 hours in the day before your tournament, like trying to think and looking over your notes, etc., because you're just going to use so much energy. Just keep in mind in the days of important tournaments, just try to use your brain as least as possible. Number 3. You eat massive meals with heaps of carbs only hours out from a tournament. Just like I said before with trying to eat massive meals really early so you avoid like making your sleep bad, it's the same thing with a Fortnite tournament. Eating a massive meal with heaps of carbs will take away heaps of energy just because your body is digesting the food, and you do not want that happening during times you're making heaps of decisions and trying to be focused like a Fortnite tournament. So what do I recommend on a tournament day? You have a couple options depending on how extreme you want to go. You can either just eat breakfast and a really big lunch like at 2 PM maybe, which will probably be the best option for your mentality, but it's obviously way harder to do. Or you could do option 2 where you do eat breakfast, lunch, but then you wait all the way till after the tournament to eat dinner, which is definitely good for the tournament, but you're going to take an hour with your sleep that night. And option 3, which is the worst option, but is definitely probably better than what you're doing now, and you can probably just start with this if you don't feel like doing other things. You can just focus on eating your last meal of the day as early as possible and eating as light as possible. This is just like I said before, like you want to eat as light as possible, things that don't take much energy to digest, and eating a little amount and also eating it earlier, because you just want to avoid digesting much during the tournament. Many successful business owners and entrepreneurs also do the same thing, but they usually actually do the fasting in the start of the day. Like they won't eat breakfast, but they'll eat lunch and then dinner. This is so in the morning they actually do most of their work that's important when they're like super focused because they haven't ate. But for you guys, it's going to be good to do this in the afternoon because that's when you have your important stuff. And just a disclaimer, I am not a doctor obviously, so this advice might be bad for you if you have some certain condition that I don't know about. So obviously be careful. Number 4. You warm up too much. Yeah, that's right. You were always told you should warm up as much as possible because it's going to make you play as good as possible, right? So why is it bad, Vujcich? It is bad because, just simply put, you are using your brain even more before a tournament, which just makes it more fatigued. Which, while for a tournament, you obviously don't want it to be, because you want to be as fully focused as possible in it. Sure, just warm up a little bit, like an hour max, probably even less, and then instantly go into 1v1 realistics or something similar where you are practicing your aim, mechanics, playstyle, and brain all at once. So it's like a compound warm-up where you warm up every single skill at once. Don't waste time. And I know this video may seem like kind of intimidating or like daunting, the amount of information I just gave, and it might be like, I don't even know if I can like implement all this stuff at once. Well, just make sure you pick one thing and implement it, and then maybe in the future come back to this video and implement another thing.